What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. If you don't like it, you can have that seatbelt.
Alright, so we gotta finally talk about Mortal Kombat 2. Now, this is gonna be a review that's gonna have spoilers in it. Because I want to talk about the things that I did like about the movie and some of the things that I didn't. So if for whatever reason you still haven't seen this movie, just, bookmark this video, go check the movie out, and then come back. But for those of us that have seen it, I actually really like this movie. This is probably my most anticipated movie of the year. And it was my most anticipated movie of last year. And I was really gutted when they delayed the movie. And the reason they say they delayed the movie is because they saw this movie as a summer blockbuster and blah 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 and all the potential. And I mean, honestly, they released it at a time that still isn't the summer. And against my advice, they still ended up releasing this movie next to the Michael Jackson movie, which I said would be a mistake when it came to the box office. It still did pretty good at the box office, all things considered. Well, not even all things considered. It did good at the box office, but I think it would have did a lot better if it wasn't released next to this Michael Jackson movie. But anyway, so I've actually seen this movie a lot of times. So I have an AMC A-list pass. So that means I can see movies almost pretty much as I want. Like as much as you can really see in a week while having a job. So I actually saw this movie 4 times. Yes. 4 times. 3 times in Dolby and 1 time in IMAX. So I've pretty much seen this movie the way it's meant to be seen. I saw it in 4K Dolby with Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision, and then I saw it in 4K IMAX Laser. So I've seen and heard this movie the way it was supposed to be seen. And honestly, every time I watch the movie, I liked it more. Now, there was a lot that I loved about this movie, and then there were some things that I either didn't like or was somewhat disappointed about. And I guess I could get that stuff out of the way first. While I thought that the action scenes were pretty well done, at least on my first viewing of this movie, I was actually kind of disappointed in the action scenes, because even though they were well done, they were well shot, I wasn't exactly blown away with the actual martial arts in the movie. And I remember hearing online from the cast and stuff like that saying that, oh yeah, this next one, we're going to blow you guys away with the action scenes and the martial arts. And the reason why the fighting wasn't as good in the other movie is just, it came down to the editing. Yeah, I don't know about that. Because the fighting was good, but I don't know if I had unrealistic expectations or what, but I was expecting for them to actually go really all out with the fighting, and for me, as a martial arts fan, they kind of didn't. But on the other hand, they kind of leaned heavily into special effects and special moves and moves directly from the games. So like say the fight that was, the hype, that's the best fight of the movie, which technically it was the best fight of the movie. The Liu Kang versus Kung Lao fight, people are like, oh yeah, it's amazing, blah blah blah. And it did look amazing and sound amazing with the music and the special effects. But as a martial arts fight, it was nothing special. But I don't think that's what they were going for. They were trying to mimic what the game looked like when you were playing it. And they did a good job of that. But as far as hand-to-hand, like combat, I was not that impressed with that. I mean, for me, that was, I don't know, I guess the Liu Kang and Reptile fight from the original movie, and even the Scorpion and Johnny Cage fight, I think those were better fight scenes to me. And maybe one of the reasons why those focus more on the hand-to-hand fighting and a lot of the kicks and stuff like that was the fact that they didn't have the same budget in the special effects. If they would have tried to put those in that fight back then, it would have looked stupid. So that's probably part of it too. So they had to lean heavily into what they were able to do. But I don't know. It just kind of bothered me at first when, you would expect. I expected a Mortal Kombat film to have some of the best fights I've seen, or at least close to it. And that part of the movie for me did not hit the mark. Even though the fights were well edited and well done, I was not impressed, if that makes any sense. Another thing is there were some. I realized that there was a different writer for this movie than from the past movies, but there was some of the things that were stated in the first movie didn't really align with what happened in the second movie, especially when it comes to your favorite character, Cole Young. Like, some of that stuff didn't really make sense, because if you watch the movie from 2021, at the end, Cole's talking to that trainer at the gym or whatever, where he used to fight for peanuts. And he said, "Oh, I'm not fighting anymore. I'm going to Hollywood." And the guy's like, "Hollywood? What the heck's in Hollywood?" And then they show a picture of Johnny Cage. Now, the reason why this kind of doesn't make sense in the second movie is, one, there's a big poster of Johnny Cage in the gym, like he's this big star currently. And then when you go to the movie that's supposed to literally take place like a couple days later or a couple weeks later or whatever, nobody's even cares about Johnny Cage. So either that poster was just some old poster that was there, or they forgot that Johnny Cage in the last movie was actually still supposed to be a big star. Another thing that didn't make sense is that Cole's character was supposed to be the one to go find Johnny Cage himself, but in the actual movie, not only was he not even there with Raiden and Sonya to find Johnny Cage, when Johnny Cage even gets there and Johnny Cage is skeptical, Cole's character was like, he can leave. We don't need him. Like, wait, you just was saying that you were going to Hollywood to find this dude. So that part didn't really make sense for me. And then also how they handled Sindel wasn't. Part of that is kind of what happened in the game, but I think that they, I don't know, they had in the beginning of the movie where she obviously was a pretty decent fighter because she took out like 6 or 7 minions of Shao Kahn's, and then when it comes to fighting Sonya, she doesn't do any fighting. Like, she's just doing the scream the whole time. So it's like, okay, you can fight, but you don't use any of that when you're actually fighting for your life. So that part didn't make sense for me. But honestly, another thing, one last thing that I was actually kind of disappointed with. They didn't really have Bihan, aka Sub-Zero, aka Noob Saibot, in the movie as much as I would have liked. And they focused so much on the special moves and special effects that they didn't really showcase Joe Taslim's martial arts. Like, they focused so much on the special effects that they probably could have had someone else technically play that character and it wouldn't have changed much, because they didn't really showcase his martial arts at all, really, with that character. And then also, him and both Scorpion were barely in the movie. But if you look at what happened in the first movie, especially when it comes to Sub-Zero, I guess it makes sense, because he was pretty much all over the first movie, and, you know, they're trying to focus on other characters this time. Give other characters their time to shine. But one thing, though, that I did find interesting, though, especially about the people that couldn't stand Cole's character in the first movie, it's kind of interesting to me, because if you actually watch that movie and watch the new one, you would see that Cole's character arc and Johnny Cage's character arc are almost nearly identical. Like, they're both considered has-beens that are a shell of their former self, that doubt themselves, that then come into they overcome and then come back to how they used to be, or they become the hero that they were meant to be. Like, that's the same. It's the same story. It's the same story. You're just swapping a UFC fighter for a movie star, and one has a family and one doesn't. It's honestly the same story. So when I see people like, oh man, his story was horrible. It's like, it's the same. They gave you the same story with Johnny Cage. They just added some jokes, pretty much. But other than that, pretty much everything else about this movie to me was pretty good. The actress that played Katana did an incredible job. Was the heart of the movie, especially mostly the emotional core of the movie. The majority of the story in the movie was based around her and around her performance. And I thought she did great. She looked the part. She sounded the part. The action scenes were great. Even though she did, of course, she had a couple of stunt doubles here and there, but it wasn't actually that noticeable. But she did a great job. Melina's character did a great job. I enjoyed Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. I knew they were gonna use a bunch of stunt doubles for him, but I mean, that was obvious. But it looked good enough. It looked good. They actually, again, just like the last movie, Sonya had a good showing. They actually had Jax fighting some people that actually mattered this time. Liu Kang got a lot more spotlight because the last movie he was kind of pushed to the back burner. This one, he had a more prominent role and was able to show a lot more, pretty much what he could do. And the action scenes were shot a lot better and edited a lot better than the last movie, so it did show. But this movie, it was really good. The editing was good. The visuals were good. The music was good. And for the most part, the acting was really good too. It wasn't the highest budget movie ever, but the visuals, especially seeing this in Dolby and IMAX, they were pretty amazing at times. There was only one visual effect where I was kind of like, how'd that make the cut? And there was a scene where Johnny Cage was like falling off a cliff or something, and it looks horrible, like really bad. It really kind of stands out. I was like, how did that slip past him? But other than that, the movie looked and sounded amazing. And the movie was really paced very well, almost too well, to the point where even though this movie was 2 hours, it kind of feels like it was an hour. An hour and 10 minutes. Like, so much so, the movie was paced so well that it probably should have been a 2.5 hour movie. I know a lot of these studios, they want the movies to be exactly 2 hours, but this movie could have gotten away with being 2.5 hours, and it still would have felt like it flew by. And they could have put a little bit more backstory of maybe some of the other characters, like Johnny Cage or something like that. Because honestly, they didn't really delve that much into any other character besides Katana. But overall, I thought that the movie was really good. Really good. Like I said, I watched it 4 times, and I will be buying it when it comes out on 4K. The movie has been doing pretty good, and the third movie is already written. It's just not greenlit, but hopefully this is enough that they could come out with the next movie, because I really enjoyed this one. And a lot of people that didn't like the movie really enjoyed this one. I've seen some people online that are saying that the movie was horrible. It's like this movie is not even horrible even if you didn't even like Mortal Kombat. So I don't know, like, people, they just say silly stuff. Especially when I see a lot of these people claim the movie is horrible, and they're basing it off like TikTok clips that they watched online or some low quality. Like, if you didn't watch this movie the way it was meant to be seen, just shut up. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Did you like the movie? What did you like about the movie, and what did you not like about the movie? I know this video's gone long, and I actually could probably talk longer, but this is long enough. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that Kano was just as awesome in this movie as he was in the last movie. Oh yeah, one last thing I need to say about this movie. The studio showed way too much of this movie up to its release. Way too much. And this is a mistake, the same mistake that they also did with the first movie, where, I don't know, they think that they just have to show so much of the movie ahead of time to get people to go to see it, but they don't need to do that, especially with this movie. But this is the same mistake. They made the same mistake with the first movie, where when the first movie came out, they literally showed the first like 10 minutes of the movie for free. Like, they put it on YouTube, and then that just happened to be like pretty much the best part, or at least the first or second best part of the entire movie. And they had trailers that showed too many big spoilers. Now, this time, the very first trailer, when the movie was supposed to come out in October, it didn't really show a whole lot of spoilers. Not really. And then they delayed the movie, and then they showed a new trailer. And the second trailer was actually amazing, and they should have stopped it right there. But they kept going, and they kept showing all these scenes and all these clips from the movie, and they didn't need to do that. And it was actually so bad that I actually had to mute Mortal Kombat 2. I had to actually mute the word Mortal Kombat 2 off of Twitter just so I didn't have the movie spoiled for me. So in the future, please, Warner Brothers, stop posting the best parts of the movie online before the movie comes out. You don't need to do that.